Yeah, I got nothing.
What are we talking about this week? Bright? No, I didn't watch it.
You could show the picture of the Funko James Bond with his Aston Martin.
Could. I don't know. Oh, I saw that earlier. I don't know, dude. Any thoughts? Besides that? Not that.
Nothing's really jumping out of me.
There's a cool picture of Boba Fett, which I think will. Should we just put Boba Fett?
Sure.
No. What do you think? All right, so feel free to chime in. Hello, we're back. We usually put something in the middle of the screen, and we are torn about what we're gonna do.
I have an idea. Hang on.
Oh, Will has an idea. All right, I'm gonna prep some other stuff, and we're gonna get going here in a mo. Thanks for staying with us. If you were still with us, hello. By the way, got my beverage for the evening. I am excited. While the sea is boiling hot. What is something that we were... Oh, there's some cool Black Mirror pictures we could put up. Of that, I have a bunch to say about that later.
Okay.
Just the...
I was trying to find a mixed logo between Disney and Fox.
Oh, go for it. We're going to talk about that too.
Yeah, well, there's nothing good, so...
Oh. I'm just going to find
Actually, we could do this.
I like this picture. This is the one I like.
The old Simpsons picture.
What is it? Yeah, we could do that. How much are we going to talk about, though?
No, not much.
Well, let's do them both. So we'll start with that one,
Okay.
and then I'll put this one up later. Let me save this one to our dealies.
Just Google search Simpsons, Fox, Disney.
Black Mirror for... And then, what is it?
Simpsons, Fox, Disney.
Simpsons, Fox. Nice. Which one do you like? This one? This one.
Whatever. Because that's like from an episode 20 years ago.
It is. No, I remember that. It was a long time ago. All right. I'm adding a picture, and then we're going to do this thing.
We're going to do the damn thing.
How's everybody doing? Are we ready for this? Are we ready? Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready. Too high pitched. What are you doing? Whatever you do with the mic, can you just not? It would be great if you didn't. No, I like that. That's a good pick.
The Simpsons.
I dig it. I like it. All right. Did people come back? We have 0 viewers, so nobody came back.
I've got 5.
It doesn't show anything on this for me. I'm looking on here.
By the way, we're on episode 121.
When did it change? I changed it earlier. I seriously changed it earlier. Alright. Don't you dare. Okay. Ready. Winner, chicken dinner. Okay. Soldier time. Let's get into this shit. Oh, that's still up. No wonder I'm getting feedback. Okay. Everybody ready? I've heard nothing from the chat room, so we're just going to go. Here we go. Stop flipping me off. I hate you. Waiting.
Last year, the Star. That thing's operational.
Dr. Banner. Now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
That's my secret, Cat. I'm always angry.
Hello and welcome to episode 121 of The Usual Podcast. Podcast we discuss Star Wars The Old Republic, the Star Wars franchise, and geek and pop culture. I'm your host, Marshall, who's super stoked to be back. And with me, also super stoked, is my co-host, Will. What's up, buddy? Happy New Year.
You know, 121 is 11 times 11.
Cool. It's good news, buddy.
Just thought I'd share.
All right. Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Way to make it awkward to start with. I hope you had a good, happy, New Year, Christmas, and all that, right?
Christmas and New Year's was good. The year started off like crap, but we'll see how it
Yeah,
goes.
yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's 2018. It couldn't be worse than 2017, though.
I hope not.
Anyway, and we're just sitting here enjoying our usual frosty beverages. I am drinking. No, I always start with you. What are you drinking,
No,
buddy?
we always start with me. Let's start with you because you obviously want to go first.
I'm going first. I am drinking an old favorite. Actually, it is up there with my top 3 IPAs. It is Ballast Point Sculpin IPA. Picked this bad boy up at the Safeway.
Nice. Well, I am drinking one of our local brews from the North Coast Brewing Company. It is the Belgo style dry hopped pale ale.
Yeah, I haven't tried that one yet. I think it's pretty good, right? Yeah.
It's not bad.
The reason I chose this particular brewery is we usually talk about San Diego Comic-Con and we gear up for that, and this is a San Diego brewery. My sister's getting married next month.
Yes, she is.
And we are thinking about, we're doing like a little, kind of a small little bachelor party for the guy she's marrying, and we're thinking about going to Ballast Point. So
Awesome.
that was in my thoughts when I bought this.
Very cool.
So before we get started, if you have comments or questions, you can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com. And we're on Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. I'm at Darth Pops on Twitter, and Will is at Ammo Griggs. We're on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, all those favorite places you like to find podcasts. So like us, tell your friends, share us, and all that. And we do have the timestamps in the show notes for non-SWTOR fans. Will's looking at me funny. What's up?
Don't forget the gear.
Yeah, it's not in here, but we'll get to it in a second. So timestamps in the show notes for non-SWTOR fans. We don't have a ton of SWTOR this week because they, vacation.
Yes, they had a holiday.
Yeah, but we got a little bit of news we're going to talk about. It'll be good. And some community stuff we're going to talk about too. And we usually talk about that at the end, though, because of the support the show stuff.
We did both, but it's all right.
I stopped doing this stuff in the beginning.
All right.
Happy New Year.
I hate you.
Anyway.
We're totally out of sync right now.
Yeah, we are, and it's been a while. Look, it's been a few weeks since we recorded, and we're just going to get that out of the way. We were going to record last week. Will wasn't feeling well. I missed a week a little bit before that. So, here we are. It's New Year. But the cool thing is, and we were just talking about this before the show, we are actually a couple weeks away from our 3-year anniversary.
3 years.
Yeah, we've been doing this 3 years almost. Pretty cool
Wow.
stuff. Yeah.
That's insane.
It is exciting. But anyway, so thanks to everybody who's in the chat room this week. We've got a bunch of people. Thanks for everybody who joined us in trailer time. We watched some awesome trailers. We ended it with Deadpool, so we got a good chuckle out of that. And so we'll talk more about ways to support the show later in the show. But thank you for everybody who does so, and thanks for being in the chat room.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. And we try to keep an eye on chat, but, it is what it is. So, Star Wars The Old Republic, dude?
Word.
You want to fight? I'm ready.
You do not have to stand against me. Instead, I will share all of this with you, if you will only kneel.
I gotta admit, though, man. I mean, I am super stoked to be doing this again.
You
Been too long.
would.
Well, this is what we do. This is the thing I look forward to.
We do the damn thing.
All right, so Star Wars The Old Republic. The one thing I wanted to point out this week in the community for SWTOR, and I do have a link in the show notes. Jim, who I think was in the chat room earlier, was she?
No, she was tweeting us.
She was tweeting us. Okay. She is from our Unholy Alliance Wookiee Mistake Guilds. They are doing a PAX 2018 South Cantina event at Texas Sports Bar, and that is happening on January 12th. By the time you hear this, it'll be gone. But I do want to just highlight this only because when there are conventions and there are Star Wars fans,
There's always stuff.
especially when it's in Texas. They did something like this last year, I believe, as well. But of course, then we do our Puck Cantina down in San Diego.
Wasn't it the Bad Feeling guys who hosted it last year?
Well, they did one earlier in the year too, I think. So, this stuff goes on. Follow us. Excuse me. I do have a link in the show notes for Gem, but she does tag our guild and everything else. So definitely check us out. If you're into Star Wars: The Old Republic and you want to join other SWTOR fans, that's the way to do it. We do impromptu events and stuff like that. It's pretty fun.
We do.
Yeah. Cool. All right, man.
Awesome.
So weekend game, dude. It's been 3 weeks. What did you do?
It's been 3 weeks, and the time I have been able to get online, it's just been doing the CXP grind.
Yeah.
I'm finally over 100 on my main tune.
Nice.
On CXP. I'm at about 20 on my secondary, and I just hit, I think, 17 on my third.
Cool, dude. So I did the same. I really had some extra time, which was kind of nice. My kids like to play video games too, so I and my wife. So we got to kind of all play video games together for a couple days during my 2 weeks off.
Oh, awesome.
And the cool thing about that for me was I started just life day grinding. I had a nice rotation where I was throwing snowballs at every NPC while I was doing heroics, and I had all my CXP boosts going. And I finally got to 300 on my main, well over 300 in fact, and I have some pretty high end gear, which I'm pretty excited about. And then I started grinding my DPS. I think it was my Imperial Agent, and I started grinding a set of gear for her, and she's close to 200, I think. I was really grinding with the double XP or the double CXP and all that going. I really made some progress, and then I was like, boy, I've been doing a lot of grinding. What other games do I have? So then I started playing Skyrim again.
Of course.
After a couple years, and boy, did I fall down that rabbit hole. I have not gone back to SWTOR in a week and a half. So
I have,
I love Skyrim, dude. It's so good.
Well,
so
it's just
fun.
my internet is so bad that it's so hard for me to play.
Yeah.
And so actually the most gaming time I get is when I decide to take my laptop into work and I play in between shifts.
I hear you.
But I should be getting my new internet on Friday.
Oh, good.
I'm actually taking Friday off of work because this is how remote we are.
Yeah.
For Comcast to come out, I had to book my appointment a month ahead of time.
Yeah.
Because they only can do one appointment per day.
That makes sense.
Absolutely. So I'm hopefully getting it on Friday.
Yeah.
And then hopefully I'll be able to, play all weekend. And it's Martin Luther King weekend, so I get an extra day.
Yeah, we get a 3-day weekend. The other thing I wanted to point out there is we have not done What's an Ops group again. Last week I could not be there last Friday.
Well, real life just gets in the way around this
Well,
time of year.
and this is the time of year we do usually go on hiatus, and we were going to come back last week, but we're not going to come back
Except
this
for me
week.
and my flipping migraines.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Well,
last week my eyes felt like they were exploding.
I'm sorry. But we are going to come back, not this week, but next week. And I hope to stream that. I'm excited about that. And then, nope, I actually can't do that day.
No, you can't. You're off the next 2 weeks.
No, I'm leaving on the 20th. Damn it. Okay. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What's an Ops group will return eventually. Let's get to some SWTOR news, dude.
Oh, I will say, actually,
Okay.
I also started doing some Conquest stuff.
Oh, good.
I did a lot of crafting, and then on my third tune, I was doing because this week it's all Nar Shaddaa stuff. So I did all the Nar Shaddaa dailies and got all that done.
Nice, dude. So I kind of skipped around news-wise. There was some posts over the holidays, but we're kind of past all that now. The one thing I want to highlight, though, is there was a dev stream on the 20th. And the only reason I'm highlighting is they haven't done it in a while. And it was really just Musco, I think, just playing the game and giving out prizes.
Right.
Which is
just reaching out.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of cool before he obviously went on vacation. There were some things that came up, very fleeting things that they addressed, but I'm not going to go into it. You can check out the dev tracker for that. I do have links in the show notes for the things I was going to talk about last week, but again, now that we're so far removed, I'm kind of over it. But there was some stuff that popped up this week, which I thought was pretty cool. Eric Musco posted, since we are formally into 2018 now, Happy New Year to all of you. We're going to have, there's been some questions, about what is coming next, and we wanted to give you some details.
Awesome.
The big what is coming type questions will be addressed. Keith's doing a roadmap,
Of
and
course.
he's working on it, and it looks like there's going to be a few more weeks before we can read it. But as a highlight, Musco pointed out, he said in Game Update 5.7, it's going to be called Legacy of the Creators. Okay. The release date is going to be January 23rd, which is a couple weeks from now. There's going to be a new operation boss, which is Skyva.
Cool.
And that's going to be available in story and vet modes. And then there's going to be returning companions. They're
Mako.
no. These missions though will be class specific, which I'll get to in a minute. It's going to be Risha and Corso and Andronicus. Okay.
Corso.
Yeah, look, bro. Just deal with it. Okay. And there's going to be a new cartel market pack and various bug fixes.
I do like Risha though.
Yeah, Risha's cool. So although he says at the last part here, he says, although we'll save specifics for the roadmap beyond 5.7, you can expect additional companions returning, a new flashpoint, and more. And he, of course, he said thanks. He's looking forward to 2018. So
awesome.
Thoughts on that?
I'm just always excited for new content.
Indeed.
I mean, it took me the longest time to get through Kotfi. What was first, Kotet or Kotfi?
Knights of the Fallen Empire was first.
Okay, then Kotet.
Nope. Knights of the Eternal Throne. I don't remember.
Kotfi was second.
Yeah.
It took me forever to get through that, and then it took me forever to finally do the Crisis on Umbara.
I'm glad you're caught up.
But I did Crisis on Umbara. I did Iocath. Actually, the only content I've never played is any of the Uprisings.
Yeah, no, there was no mention of Nadia, but I do have some help there, Shaggy, so hold tight here. The one thing, Musco, so there were a couple people obviously asking questions about what he said, right. And a lot of them were companion specific. So one was, what does class specific mean in this context? It was one of the questions. And he said class specific means that only the class that those companions are originally from will be able to get them. So in this case, Risha and Corso obviously is Smuggler, and Andronicus is Inquisitor, right? So I'm actually looking forward to it. I actually liked Andronicus. And then the other question was, so, excuse me, are the returning companions going to be class specific from here on out? I hope not. I made a Smuggler clone, etc. And it kind of looks like they're going that way. Musco said many of them will be, but not all. It depends on the story they're telling with that particular companion returning. I'll make sure we note that for future returns so you know which is which. So the reason I'm saying this is because the very next post, actually, I'm going to jump to this post and then I'll go back to the other one. Someone said, so really in a nutshell, he said, are we going to be able to, if you're not an Inquisitor or a Smuggler, for example, can you go to that terminal on Odessen and get those companions? Because that's what you could have done with the Alliance alerts, but it's not going to be that type of alert. So that's the question. He says, Musco says, right now it's not planned that you can access these companions via the terminal on other classes. However, I passed the suggestion along to the team as something they could possibly implement down the line. I think they kind of need to do that, only in that I like that they're trying to return companions to their classes, but like if you're not a Smuggler and you're not an Inquisitor, like my main's an Inquisitor, so I'm getting one more companion. Great, I have 100 of them. Right. But if you're another class, this update doesn't pertain to you companion-wise, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah, well, I mean, true, but I hate to say it, but probably about 80% of all SWTOR players have almost every class.
Good point.
So it is going to pertain to maybe not every character, but to every player almost surely.
Yeah.
And plus, though, the one thing I did like about the way they did do it, so hopefully they go back to it, is like when you were going to get Sergeant Rusk or I forget who it was, but they had to go and do war zones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, MX4K.
Yeah.
Or
MX something. Yeah. MX1X or something like that. Yeah, whatever.
You couldn't, but if you were already a trooper or a bounty hunter,
yeah, you already got it.
You got them. You didn't have to go and do the war zones,
right? So I get that. It's kind of nice, and I'm wondering. I'd have to look back at the companions they released. Did the Smuggler, because that's 2 for the Smuggler, did the Smuggler not get any so far? Like, I know they've neglected some classes, and I'd have to kind of go back and take a look at it.
They have, but I think that's Andronicus and, let's see, Smuggler had that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, That's
I have to. There's something we can revisit next week. I'm wondering if they're trying to even it out a little bit.
I think the smuggler has been short shrifted.
Yeah. So I think that's good. So one more thing, last thing, before I get to my impromptu question of the week for you. And somebody said the most important question for me is: it's going to be an alliance alert? Will it be voiced? Will it have a dynamic camera, or is it the much maligned setup that the other alliance alerts share, which people have given some flack to, where it's very KOTOR-esque, where your guy doesn't speak, the other person does, or it's an alien you're talking to, etc. So
Exactly.
Eric said, yes, it will be an alliance alert. However, it will be cinematic and not KOTOR style conversation like the other alerts.
Right.
So that means it'll be fully voiced, which will be pretty cool.
Which is cool. Yeah. I mean, the KOTOR stuff was fine with me too, because you got to see the person you were talking to spoke. It's just weed in.
Agreed. Yeah.
So.
All right, buddy. So before we get out of SWTOR, and what was that?
I think it was you messing with your cord.
Hello? Okay. Stop touching the cord.
That was weird.
My bad. Sorry if that hurt anybody else's ears. It hurt mine. So 2018, what do you think's coming for SWTOR, man? Any thoughts? I mean, the one thing I'm throwing out there, obviously we're going to get, since we talked about the roadmap, we are going to get the other very, very soon, the next operation boss. But what else do you predict, my friend? What else do you want? And don't you dare talk about what you always talk about.
Stackable storage.
Yeah.
No, I'm okay with that for now.
Okay.
Especially since they've reworked collections and everything.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I have to carry everything on my person anymore.
Okay.
You know, I really haven't. I really want them to start bringing back more companions.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think they will, and it sounds like that's where they're going with it. I'd like them to finish this operation for sure this year. And they have plenty of time, I feel like, because what are we at the third? This will be the fourth boss. They only have one more. I feel like that's going to be a thing. Yeah. Right?
Also, I'd like to see more achievements, but I want them shallower and wider and not so deep, because, like, I mean, I really don't need to go around and kill 2,500 people with C2N2. You know what I mean?
True.
It's like, instead of having that, like, really utilize, especially the ones that we like the droid one, the Zero Droid, and the Wampa. I mean, make them a lot more where, you know, you get more stuff by getting through the Wampa and through the Nexu Cat or whatever you have, you know.
So you're saying more have your pet out kind of things, or
stuff like that? But it's like wider variety of achievements, and it's not just, all right, well, this is the next one, so you have to kill 3 different levels of grinding of that.
I would, besides all of that, I like to see some more quality of life improvements. Honestly, I would really like to see the legacy stuff be all the way across the board. I'd like the bank to work differently. Like, I was excited about
the bank works fine, I think.
No, I like the legacy bank, but honestly, what I want is all the money I have across my tunes to show up in every tune. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I don't have to, like, actually manage money. Like, just the money I have is my account money. That's what I want.
Okay, I can see that.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that. See, what I do is I just put most of my money in that account.
Oh, I do too.
So.
And whenever I need to, I just pop back and pull it out. I got you. But the other thing is... Oh, I just had it a second ago. What was the other thing I'm predicting?
You know what they should do is, instead of...
I lost it.
Because you can get your field legacy cargo hold, right?
Yeah.
And that's where your bank is. But what if they just had a quality of life thing where you could get a special item of a wallet, just like a field droid or whatever. But it's a wallet, and all it is the bank.
I like that. Shaggy says a good point. Conquest getting revamped.
Like I said, I've been doing some more conquesting lately, and it's still just such a grind to do certain things. And
Crafting also. I would like to see some guild improvements. I would like to see, and this is getting to an I wish segment instead of predictions. But what I do think they're going to do this year, and I hope that they do this year, is not only, like you said, bring back companions, but expand the story and really solidify what they're going to do kind of going forward. Like, and let us know, like, okay, the game, we're done after like 5.8 is the last update.
Okay.
And kind of start prepping us for the end, if that's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Just
Yeah,
an
I do
idea.
want them to. I mean, if there is going to be an end,
Yeah.
which there always is, I want them to prep for it, not to just be, all right, well, we're cutting it off in 6
Yeah,
months.
exactly.
You know, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and if this is going to be a little bit of an I wish segment, with crafting, I would almost think it would be kind of cool where, you know, when you have to pick a discipline, right,
Mm-hmm.
like marksmanship or whatever, when you pick your crafting thing, you could actually pick a specific discipline, and you can't, like, if you're cybertech, right? Because in cybertech you can build various different things. I want to be able to build more speeders, and so like, say
okay.
you want to be, say your thing is I choose to be a gearhead, therefore you
Oh,
can
that'd be
build
cool.
more speeders.
I like
or,
that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. There's a lot they can do.
Because there's only I think 3 speeders that you can
I think
craft.
so, and that's what Cybertech.
Yeah.
I think yeah. Yeah, man. I had something else that I didn't want to forget. If it comes to me later, it might be in a weird part of the show, or I'll
craft,
spice it in later.
Be able to craft specific things for your home.
Yeah. The other thing, and this is something that's been kind of a point of contention, I know within our circles, I want them to figure out kind of what they're going to do with the influencer system, with the influencer
Yeah, okay.
thing. Like, I know that's been, and I'm just throwing that out there because I don't know if Musco's listening, and you know, there's conversations happening, and hopefully we're going to go forward from here. But like I said, you know, I wanted to be kind of clear what our role is and what we have access to and stuff like that. I think
Yeah, I
that'd
can
be,
understand that.
I think that'd be nice. So that's my only criticism, man. I'm excited about the game. I love the game, and I've been having a great time, and I can't wait to get back to What's Nops Group. So
Awesome. And hopefully with my new internet this Friday, I can take part in that next week.
sweet, dude.
Or 2 weeks.
Yeah, like I said, I think my other thing got moved. I don't think I'll be in until the end of the month, but it is what it is. I'm excited to see what happens with SWTOR 2018, dude. And of course, we have our Cantina in July, and all that. And I love the fans, and I love our SWTOR peeps. So
Yep, absolutely.
keep doing what you're doing, people. You're awesome.
All right,
All
let's
right.
move on to Star Wars.
You didn't want me to drag that out any longer? Is that what you're trying to say?
Cut it.
Okay.
I love you.
I was raised to do one thing. But I've got nothing to fight for.
Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
And maybe I'll throw this in there. I got a message from somebody who's watching. It's not that they're talking about ending the game,
Right.
But every MMO has had an end point, and it's something that has been thrown out on the internet lately. And you know, people have their theories and stuff. I don't want to give any credence to some of the lame videos that people put out there, but honestly,
SW Tour.
so the point is, dude, is that if they are going to end it, give us a finite endpoint and start prepping for it.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
We don't want it to be like a TV series that gets cut without a storyline to finish
Yeah.
it up.
Thanks, Firefly. Okay, we good?
We're good.
All right, Star Wars, dude. I love this. This makes me happy. Do you know why? That means we're gonna get hella more Star Wars.
Yes.
So Disney Star Wars ticket sales have surpassed the purchasing price of Lucasfilm.
Yeah, basically what it is because Force Awakens made what, $1.8 billion worldwide. Rogue One was like 1.6 or something, and with Last Jedi, which has got to be close to 1.4, 1.5 already.
Right.
Combined, they've totaled more than the 4.2 billion that Disney paid for all of Lucasfilm. So that means everything else is gravy.
Well, and at this point, they made their money, but they also have plans for, I don't know, just as a rough estimate, if it goes the way it's going, I don't know, another...
Well,
how many more $1 billion just in the next movies they've already planned?
Well, every movie is going to be at least $1 billion.
Okay, so we have Solo,
Solo,
9,
9,
and the next trilogy.
plus
That's $5 billion.
plus the next Star Wars story, which is confirmed. Hopefully, Kenobi, but
Right.
it's confirmed that there will be a third Star Wars.
So we're
story.
talking between $6 and $7 billion,
At least, because it could be double that for some of them, especially 9. I can see 9 actually overtaking Force Awakens for highest grossing.
Oh, 9 has
Nine could theoretically be the first $1 billion.
Do you think about JJ sometimes? And you just think about, oh, JJ, you really have to nail this.
I know,
I
right?
feel so bad for him, dude.
It is definitely a high wire.
There's
act.
so much pressure on JJ in 9. And I think Ryan Johnson did a good job in giving him enough to play with.
Yeah.
I just worry, as divisive as 8 was, like, my fear is that he's gonna overcompensate and kind of do what he did with 7 and play it not that he played it safe, but keep it close to what the fans were expecting.
And
you know what I mean?
Well, and to be honest, I'm okay with that. What I don't want is for JJ to pull a JJ and not wrap things up correctly.
Right.
Lost or
something, yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm with Eddie too. Yeah, he's got to step up and he's got to finish this. He has to, you know. And I think that's super important
because what JJ is really good at is creating something and passing it on. Mm-hmm. Okay,
but now he's got it back.
Exactly.
Has this ever
That's
happened
the thing.
for him?
I don't know.
So this is going to be a whole new world for him, I think.
A whole new
Yeah, I was just about to start singing that, and then here we are. So, comics, dude.
Yeah, we actually have a couple of comics news.
We haven't talked about comics in a while.
We haven't. The newest issue of Darth Vader. I'm bringing it up because it actually touches on the importance of The Last Jedi. The fact that it explains Rey's force power and lack thereof, for lack of a better term,
Right.
of a parentage.
Right.
That in the comic, Vader actually has a discussion with with a Jedi who realizes that Vader is Anakin.
Right.
Okay, and they're talking about the source of force power, and he's saying that the Jedi is saying it's like you can kill all the Jedi, like every last Jedi,
yeah,
but the Force will find a way to just imbue that power into somebody else, and so it just shows that whether you believe in the midichlorians or whatever, the Force found Anakin to put the Force into him.
The Force finds a way.
It found it in Rey. It found it in Broom Boy. It's like, you know what I mean? It's all these things.
I do know what you mean, and I think that was intentional with Ryan Johnson.
Absolutely.
At the end, was to kind of say, look, we're in flux, we've lost, but look at where the Force still is, you know,
right.
And look at this child who sucked a broom using the Force to his hand. And whether I do anything with this child, just know that the Force is out there, kind of thing, you
exactly.
know. And I think that was his point.
What I love is it kind of references another blockbuster series with Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park saying, "Life finds a way."
I was wondering why that sounded familiar when I said the Force finds a way. It's freaking Jurassic Park. God damn it.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, you're right, dude. You're right. Speaking of comics, there's going to be a DJ one shot. Did you know this?
DJ
the hacker.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's happening, dude. So I'm going to throw
I hope
this
they
out.
give a little bit more explanation of his backstory.
Yeah. So obviously this is Benicio del Toro's character from The Last Jedi, and there's a nice Q&A. This is on StarWars.com. I have a link in the show notes. It is going to be a one shot about him, and it's it's called Star Wars: The Last Jedi DJ number 1. So there's a nice little couple questions in here talking about the character and stuff like that. So I think that'd be pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
I might actually have to read a comic. I haven't read any Star Wars comics in so long. I can't keep up, man.
There's so much.
It's too many. So, Last Jedi news?
Last Jedi news. Go right ahead. The first one's you.
Oh, I was jumped in the chat. I don't know. What are we talking about?
Well,
Okay. All right. Well, I'll just move on. Last Jedi news. So, it cracked the top 20 all-time box office earners.
Yeah, and it's
was
well past that
inevitable.
by now. I'm sure it's.
Yeah. This was on the 3rd of January. That's 7 days ago.
Yeah, I can give an updated thing here. Hang on.
Oh, you have an updated one? I know that was a little out of date.
Give me 1 second.
So, I think it was one of the top earning opening weekend, correct?
Yeah, it was third.
Yeah,
No,
third.
fourth. Behind Force Awakens, Jurassic World, and Avengers.
That's it. Okay, cool.
All right, so all time it is number 6 now.
Wow. So number 6
domestic, number 12 worldwide.
Yeah, still.
But the only ones ahead of it domestically are Avengers, Jurassic World, Titanic, Avatar, and Force Awakens.
Indeed.
It just overtook Dark Knight last week. It overtook Rogue One the week before. The next one on its list is Avengers, but that's another $50 million out.
Do you find it interesting that not only the things that they're competing with are other Star Wars movies and or Disney properties?
Yeah, actually, it's funny because Fox has number 2, Paramount has 3, and Universal has 4, and Warner Brothers has 7. But other than that, everything in the top 10 is Buena Vista.
Exactly.
So Disney has spots 1, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 13.
And so on. Nice, dude.
Yes.
All right. What do you got? Something about porgs?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
God, here
actually
we go.
3 crew members took home some porgs.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean by crew members? Like just people working on the set?
No. Actual, they were given as gifts.
Oh, I was like, did they steal them?
Yeah, no, nothing was stolen.
Okay, good.
But it was, let's see, who got them? It was Ryan Johnson took one. Neil Scanlon. Oh, no, sorry, not even Ryan Johnson. Neil Scanlon, who was the creature designer.
Makes sense.
Kathleen Kennedy, president of Lucasfilm. And Ryan Johnson's producing partner, Ram Bergman.
Now, I saw something else about porgs recently. They're actually not CG. They're like,
No, they're functional.
they're fully, what do you call it? Practical effect puppet
which
things.
is exactly what they did with Yoda.
Yeah,
This time,
which I thought was cool.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. All right. I saw this next one too, and that's from the Visual Dictionary, which I think is a trip.
Yeah, it is. They were explaining the Praetorian Guard's armor.
Yeah.
And how it protects them from blaster bolts. And
You're coming in and out.
Is it because my leg was shaking?
Maybe. Go ahead.
And lightsabers just glance off of it. The only way a lightsaber can get through the armor is through a thrust.
Right.
And what it is it turns out it's like imagine like the SR-71 Blackbird, where the stealth fighter, where it looks like a big old mess on the ground, but once it flies, it just like gets streamlined.
Right.
When you get into movement, it just closes in on itself and form fits. But the thing is, it causes a magnetic field and an extreme pain to the wearer.
Which I thought was pretty clever, like kind of a neat
Yes.
side note to the Praetorian Guard, like having them have this kind of almost mag armor,
Right.
where in order to be fully functional, they had to be in pain,
Yes.
but through discipline and loyalty, they are fully they make it their own. I thought that was
Exactly.
cool.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a neat side note.
I thought I just lost you again.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's popping in and out.
Is it your connection there?
Yeah, hold on one sec. I think it might just be my maybe the connection on this. I gotta get a new deal. If you guys have audio issues, please let us know as soon as possible. Okay. All right. So let's move on. What do we got? Carrie Fisher. Oh, this was interesting. Carrie Fisher helped rewrite Leia's goodbye to Holdo, which I didn't find surprising.
No, because she is like one of the best known but least recognized script doctors. Because,
Right, I know. That's why I thought this would
exactly.
be interesting. So we
It
were
was-
talking about it.
Yeah, it was fantastic. She was pulled on to so many scripts to fix it, and they don't get credit. Very rarely do you get credit. There was who was pulled in to do the script work on
What movie are we talking about? One of the Star Wars movies?
yes, I think so.
I don't remember.
No, I'm drawing a blank. But anyways, there's something, and he got paid $5 million for it.
Right. Well, to have to do with the Solo film?
That might have been.
No, not Solo. It doesn't matter. But the reason...
Tony Gilroy was the writer, though.
Yeah, the reason I bring it up, though, is it's interesting that because of how good she is at that, she was asked to come in and actually help with part of the script
On
for
the
a movie
character
she
she
was
writes,
on
yeah.
the character she was working on. You know what I mean? I thought that was kind of cool. So, but I'm still, and the other reason I put this in here is I really wanted to kind of talk about this with you really, really briefly. I know we're not trying to drag this out, but have you thought about any more about what they're going to do in 9 with her? Or do you think it's going to be, do you think it's going to be as, I don't want to say dismissive, as like opening crawl? Like,
Well, it's kind of like what they did to Luke in Force Awakens.
Agreed.
I think the only way that would work is if they do a time jump,
Mm-hmm.
like 5 years forward or something like that. Because it would be understandable for her to have passed in that time.
I don't think they can do 9 without a time jump.
Right.
I think they have to do a time jump. And to kind of write in what happens to Leia in the crawl, or have the characters talk about it or reflect on it.
Well, what they could do is, because 9 was supposed to be her movie.
Indeed.
What they could do is stuff that they may have cut out of 8, they can turn into Force Ghost advice in 9.
Yeah, that's true.
Just repurpose it.
Yeah. All right. Well,
And I trust JJ to make that decision.
oh, poor JJ. I think that might be the name of the episode.
Poor JJ.
Oh, poor JJ. Okay, so this I thought was also interesting because in that same scene where we thought Leia might have died in the beginning of the film,
Right.
We lost Admiral Akbar,
We did.
right? And I have this article in here, and I didn't read through all of it, but the headline's actually really interesting. The editor regrets Admiral Akbar's fate, right? And I was kind of bummed too. Let's see. He says, General, he barely survives. That was how it was designed. Duxie said to the Huffington Post, though he added he was now having second thoughts about the death. He says, it's interesting that you mentioned it because I watched the film last night and thought, maybe that's too incidental. It's a very funny thing about that because what happens, I don't typically watch movies that I work on much afterwards because you're so familiar with it. But this film I've seen now a couple of times with an audience. And it occurred to me last night that what does happen when I watch movies is I generally find things that are like, I wonder if I should do that differently. So we talked about this on our reaction show after we watched it. Do you think Akbar deserved, and this is just a hypothetical question or a question for you, but do you think he deserved more? Like, do you think that this editor is like, well, maybe we didn't do the character justice after he sat in a movie theater with fans, you know?
2 things.
Okay.
One, I want to point out that Scrappy makes a great comment in the chat.
Oh, that is a good comment.
That we don't see anything about Leia after Luke dies. Maybe she died at the same time.
Maybe the dice disappearing is her passing.
Yeah, that could be cool.
That's interesting. Okay.
Okay, now going back to Akbar thing, I think it would have been too much fan service to have made a big deal of it.
Yeah.
Because that is the great thing about, well, not the great thing. That's the thing about war is it is incidental like that. It could take out anybody at any given time.
True.
What I think would be the proper way to send it off would be, say, Poe has command of a command ship in the next one, and it's named the Akbar.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
That would be something
like
that
that.
they could just slide into it.
And I like, one of the things I did like, and we talked about this in our reaction show too, that the movie wasn't fan service. Like, It wasn't like, hey, here's Akbar, and here's what he's doing, and then he dies this heroic death. It's like,
Exactly.
Akbar, you've seen in all these movies. Like, now he's dead. Like, I get what you're saying. I think that's...
Well, it's like when I'm going to take you back to episode 1, Phantom Menace, when we lost Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
We didn't need the pyre scene.
No.
No, we could have gone by without that.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, man, I mean, and if you watch the animated series, any of the animated series, you lose people. And sometimes it's not a big thing about it. It's just, okay, they're gone now,
Right.
you know? So I don't know. I think that's really interesting. The Akbar thing, it kind of bugged me after, but now that I'm thinking about it, like, makes sense. I miss him. He actually, and it's funny because I read a lot of the EU stuff, and he actually had huge roles in the EU, and I think that's probably why, I'm hoping that's why Rian Johnson chose to do that. He's like, look, because like you said, it's just fan service otherwise, because like you've seen him in all these other things. Okay, but now he's gone.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, so tell me about the new Star Wars trilogy.
Oh, it's supposedly they're going to start filming in the summer of 2018, this summer, in Scotland.
Awesome.
That's all we know. I think Rian Johnson was doing an interview or something. He said, yeah, we plan to start filming in Scotland.
Scotland is beautiful.
Oh, yeah. I can't.
And
One day I'm going to go.
So I'm totally on board with that.
Yeah.
It looks like John Williams is going to be composing the theme for Solo.
And that's it. He's only
That's
doing the
going to be
theme.
his last one?
No, but I'm saying that's all he's going to do in that film. He's only doing the Solo theme.
And I'm totally okay with that because, again, this is something that John Williams does really, really well, is he passes off to other people because he only did the Harry Potter soundtracks for the first 3.
Right.
And he passed it on to Patrick Doyle and a few other people. I'm okay with this.
Let me find the name. Oh, here it is. John Powell is gonna do.
Oh, John Powell's
he's gonna
great.
do the score. And John Powell did something. I heard this in a podcast earlier. He did something I was really stoked about. Soundtrack I really liked.
Yeah, he's done quite a few.
Oh damn! I'm not. It's not in this article.
I'll find it. Hang on.
It's fine. But the bottom line is, basically, what's going to end up happening is John Williams is doing the bass for the soundtrack. He's giving the score. He's giving Solo's main theme, right?
Yeah.
And then Powell has something to work off of, right?
Right. Powell did How to Train Your Dragon.
That's it.
He also did The Bourne Identity.
How to Train Your Dragon soundtrack is freaking good.
It is. But he didn't do the music per se because that was done by Fatboy Slim and a couple other people.
Uh-huh.
But he did the score. He also did Shrek. He just did Ferdinand recently. It looks like he did a lot of DreamWorks stuff.
Yeah. Good composer. Really cool. All right. Any thoughts on John Williams? Any other thoughts?
I love him.
Well, we all do. But he's getting up there, dude. He's 80.
He's 86, something like that.
Yeah.
Since I saw Garth Brooks in concert this last summer,
Yeah.
John Williams is my number one on top of my list to see.
Yeah, dude. It's only a matter of time.
Yep.
It's getting up there. All right. The other story I have about Solo.
Oh, man, I really don't want this to be true.
Really? I was curious. I threw this in here because this is one of those speculation things. There is a possibility that Boba Fett was sighted on the Solo set.
That is fan service.
You think so?
Yes. You already have Lando in there.
So this says, Ron Howard says, had to say, goodbye to my friend Paul Bettany today. Another terrific performance from world-class talent. And then somebody posted, is that Boba Fett? I don't know. Dude. So you think it's just purely fan service that he's there? Or is Boba Fett because when we see him in Return of the Jedi, there's obviously familiarity between him and Han Solo. Because when he says Boba Fett, he's like, Boba Fett? Like, obviously he knows the name.
Well, yeah, obviously he would because he's a world-class, a galaxy-class bounty.
No, I get it. But I like to think
That there's a history?
that there's something there. I don't know.
If there is, I hope it's written well.
I hope that this is all we get, and we don't get a freaking Solo standalone Boba Fett movie, because you know how opposed I am to that.
Yeah, if it's between that and a standalone Boba Fett movie, I'd take that.
That's the compromise, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah. And Shaggy's, you're right. Ron could be trolling, and I hope he is. Honestly, I don't want to see him either, but I also don't want to see a standalone Boba Fett movie either. So
Yeah, I just think it would be. He would be really a really young Boba Fett.
yeah, I agree. But he's also like, cloning.
Well, I understand that, but he was what 10 or 11 when Jango died,
True.
and they made a point of saying that he wasn't given the
armor.
no, not the armor, but the advanced aging serum.
Oh, right. So he had age naturally. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Let's move on. Merchandise.
We just have a couple merchandise things. This is actually not Star Wars related, but Funko, which I love, has released a James. Why don't you open this up and show them?
Yeah. I'll put it on the thing. Hold on.
They've created a new James Bond Funko with the Aston Martin DB5.
1 second.
And I think this is just awesome.
That's so cool.
How
dude.
cool is that?
That is pretty awesome. Yeah, no, I love stuff like that. I think that's amazing. Let's what else we got? Oh, Black Series. Oops. Check this out. So we've got Star Wars Black Series. This is DJ Island Journey Ray and Captain Rex figures are now available, which
Cool.
I think is cool. That's not the greatest picture for those following along with us, but I'm not going to resize it. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, by Island Journey Ray, I'm sure it's her at the beginning of Last Jedi.
Yeah, and I think that's a cool figure.
Yeah,
I like that.
because I love the cape.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So 3 big new releases. It says 6-inch. They're 6-inch Star Wars Black Series, and it's the ones I said. There we go.
Awesome. We have one bit of theme park news, and it has absolutely nothing to do with Disneyland or Star Wars. There's a big theme park in Britain, and I'm drawing a blank on the name right now. But they are making a roller coaster themed on the Wicker Man.
What?
Which, if you remember, it's like a weird.
I have some memory of it, but
Yeah. It's a weird sort of.
It's kind of obscure, don't you think?
Well, it's a cultish movie from the 70s.
Yeah.
That was remade really poorly with Nicolas Cage.
That's right.
But I'm cool. I'm always cool with weird pop culture references in theme parks.
Indeed. Speaking of theme parks, well, I don't know if I want to mention that. I'm afraid. Secrets.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, man. I'll just say I'm looking forward to going to Universal. I haven't been since I was a kid.
Nice.
We're doing that next month.
All right. Well, speaking of Universal, let's go to the usual roundup.
Oh, segues and stuff. Look at you, buddy.
I can't imagine any kind of future where I'm a hero.
Well, you're not.
See, in the future, none of you are heroes. You're legends.
Isn't it nice, dude? Like, I forgot what I was gonna say. Go ahead.
As always, let's get the crappy stuff out of the way first. We don't have any major deaths to talk about, so no rips this week. But we have two kind of distressing stories. One is, it's another one of the powerful people that have been charged with sexual assault. So,
say it ain't true.
And this time it looks like it's Stan Lee. And it seems like it's
just turned 95.
Well, the thing is, it seems like it's recent. It's not like he did it when he was in his 40s or something. What it looks like has happened was because his wife passed away a couple of years ago.
Right.
And so he's 95 years old, so he's got a nursing company that takes care of him.
I see where this is going.
Well, he just changed nursing companies. The first one says they won't work with them anymore, and they are pressing charges because they are saying that he would walk around naked, demanding blowjobs.
He's 1,000 years old.
That's what they're arguing. So
wow,
it just hit the news yesterday, I believe. So he's come out and categorically denied it. But I mean, I hate to say it. I just watched Waiting again, right?
I like that movie.
And there's that scene where Ryan Reynolds sits down with the old guy who has got dementia, and he goes, Alzheimer's can't be all that bad. At least you meet new people every day. Funny line. But then the old guy says, well, it's kind of a mixed bag. You can walk around in your underwear and give children the finger.
Right.
As long as you look like you're going senile, then it's okay. But then he goes, but then sometimes you don't realize you're doing it, and you realize you really are going senile.
Oh, God.
He's 95. Shit happens. It could be that he's just slipping.
I feel like I like to think he's one of those people that's going to stay sharp till the end.
We can hope.
But the amount of traveling he does, the amount of interactions he's done, and the life he's led, I mean, he's 95 years old.
Plus,
dude.
losing the love of your life is going to mess with you a little bit, too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my great-grandma lived to 98.
Right.
And it was up until the last few years, like, that was it. You know what I mean? And, but she was sharp till, 94, 95. So, I don't know, man. I hope this isn't true, but...
Yeah, I mean, we don't know any facts either way, so, I mean, I don't want to make any judgments whether, either way.
Yeah.
The other big piece of news here, and actually I think this is kind of we can get into this debate. If you guys watched the Golden Globes this week,
that was a lot.
There was a lot talking about Me Too and parody and everything. And then it came out a couple days later that a movie that was up for a couple of awards called All the Money in the World, which originally starred Kevin Spacey.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the whole Kevin Spacey thing came out, they fired him, brought in Christopher Plummer, did a whole bunch of reshoots. Christopher Plummer got nominated for a Golden Globe for it. Two of the other stars were Mark Wahlberg and Michelle Williams. Mark Wahlberg is Mark Wahlberg. Everybody knows. Michelle Williams is a Golden Globe winning, multi-time Oscar nominee.
Dawson's Creek.
Dawson's Creek, Heath Ledger's widow. She was just very recently in The Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman.
Right.
She's in Blue Valentine. She's tons of stuff.
What was the other one? Manchester by
the Sea.
Yeah.
Tons of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It came out that for the reshoots, this isn't their pay for the movie.
Right.
For the reshoots, Mark Wahlberg was paid $1.5 million.
Makes sense.
Okay.
He's Mark Wahlberg.
Michelle Williams was paid an $80 per day per diem. Which is, totally, per diem per day, same thing.
Yeah.
So she was paid an $80 per diem which totaled to less than $1,000. So
That seems.
yes. So she made less than $1,000. He made $1.5 million for the same amount of work. This is getting huge backlash in the industry.
Of course.
Okay, I agree, but, and I have a major caveat, and this is something we wouldn't normally think about if you don't really get into the industry much like I do.
Right.
Okay.
And until you told me this earlier, I was like, "This is bull crap," because it was on CNN. I saw it this morning.
It is. I agree. It is total bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, bull crap.
Yeah. Well, now I'm editing.
And whether they have the same agent or not, Eddie, the thing is, what sort of movies does Mark Wahlberg do?
The big ones.
Big blockbuster.
What? No.
Exactly.
What? Oh.
But those are the type of movies that tend to have reshoots.
Yes.
Okay. What type of movies does Michelle Williams do?
Manchester by the Sea.
Mostly art house movies.
Yeah.
Very rarely does she do a blockbuster. And when she does, it's usually a blockbuster like The Greatest Showman. Very much more on the artistic side, not on the CGI side.
Right.
So you don't tend to have a lot of reshoots. So I guarantee you that Mark Wahlberg has a stipulation in his contract standing in every contract he signs that if there are reshoots, he is paid this amount of money.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that it's just never been a thought in their mind for that to be written into Michelle Williams' contract.
Yeah.
So therefore, she probably got what scale would be for reshoots, which would be the 80 per
Not a
diem.
whole bunch of money. Yeah.
So not that I agree with it,
Right.
but it's not the reasoning behind it. It's just more of a fault of the agent, and it's even worse if they have the same agent because they know that option is there.
Right.
And I don't know for a fact that this is the way it is. This is what I would assume would be the case.
And if this is the case, and I like to think that you're right on this, only in that we've been talking about this stuff for years. I like to think that you're right. But if they have the same agent, obviously he's not paying attention to Michelle Williams, and he's paying attention to, because if he was paying attention to Michelle Williams in the same way he was paying attention to Mark Wahlberg, he'd have been like, oh crap, you're both going to reshoots on the same film. This isn't in your contract.
Right.
Please know that we didn't think about this, and this is what's going on, so that it doesn't hit the news like this. Right?
Right. And I agree, Eddie, that they are going up against Mark on this, but I think there's two ways that they could solve this.
Yeah.
Well, actually, really, I think just one way.
Just pay her more money.
Well, no, that's a Band-Aid on a broken leg.
Yeah.
With Mark Wahlberg, it probably wasn't that, okay, if he gets called into reshoots, he get paid $1 million, $1.5 million. It's probably a percentage of his movies, of what he got paid. What it got paid for that movie.
Right.
For example, say he got paid, for this movie, it was probably, because it was such a small movie, he probably got paid $3 or $4 million.
Yeah.
Right. It's probably not his $8 to $9 million that he would get paid for a Transformers movie. So he probably says, okay, if you call me back for reshoots, I get 50% of bonus.
Yeah.
Okay. So say it was a $3 million payday, so he gets a $1.5 million. If what they need to do is, and this is not on Michelle Williams or her agent, this is on SAG and AFTRA, that SAG needs to say, okay, this is written into our next contract as a union. That anybody who gets called back in for
reshoots gets that much percentage.
Across the board, everyone gets a 25% of their signed deal.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to approach it.
I think that's the only equitable way to do it.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's good. I hope that's the case. Otherwise...
if that's not the case and it was just them being assholic about it...
Yeah. Ooh, assholic.
Thank you.
Well done.
That is a much more subversive and systemic issue that definitely needs to be addressed.
Indeed. All right, man. Let's get out of that. What do we got for X-Files? Oh, dude, Gillian Anderson is getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
As she's trying to leave the X-Files.
Well,
you can't have them all.
Well, here we are.
Here we are.
But I mean, I think that's kind of cool.
No, absolutely. I love Gillian Anderson. She's done great work. She's part of a great show that was filmed in Britain called...
Yep, you forgot.
Not The Bridge. It's something else. But one of my favorite movies with her in it was actually a romantic comedy, a romantic film that she did, where she played the love interest of Jon Stewart.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
interesting.
It was called Playing by no. I think it was Playing by Numbers or something like that.
Okay.
But it was really interesting because it was Sean Connery and Gina Rowlands, Dennis Quaid with I'm drawing a blank.
Well, while you think about that, Shaggy's, no, that's not what we're saying. We're trying to figure out why the inequity is there. Obviously, they should get paid the same. Please understand that we are not saying that Wahlberg deserves to get paid more. We're saying there is a situation or a contractual thing that might be why this happened. We're hypothesizing.
No, and actually,
by no stretch of the imagination are we saying they should not get paid the same.
No, and honestly, I honestly think that Michelle Williams was probably paid more in the original contract for this movie because she is more of a draw for that audience.
I love Michelle Williams.
Actually, I'm going to look.
I had a huge crush on her as a kid. I loved Dawson's Creek. That was so awesome.
Go on to talk about the next one while.
So don't get us wrong, Shaggies. We're just trying to figure out why this hit the news, and Will has a theory on it. He'll do some more stuff on it, and we'll talk about it in a second.
Yeah.
All right. So, Gillian Anderson, cool. Casting news: Mark Hamill and Ron Perlman are cast in a Transformers animated series. And I think this is cool because I personally love any voiceover that Mark Hamill does. Let me look and see if Hamill will be voicing the evil Megatronus in the series. And let's see, Ron Perlman. Perlman, on the other hand, won't be appearing until the final act of the Prime Wars trilogy, and he is set to voice Optimus Primal. So I don't know enough about Transformers to even talk about this, but I just thought it was cool because I love when Mark Hamill does voiceover because he's amazing.
Yeah. This could be a Transformer.
So I'm going to move on because we are in real reviews and we're talking about TV and movies. I want to talk about Stephen King. I have 2 stories in here about Stephen King. Okay. The first one, and the reason I bring this up is because our friend, well, not our friend, I wish he was my friend, Mark Bernardin, friend of Kevin Smith, who does Fat Man on Batman. He is a writer on Castle Rock, which is based off of Stephen King. Okay,
because Castle Rock is Stephen King's company.
Exactly. And this is a TV series that's coming very, very soon. The crazy part is Stephen King says he knows nothing about Castle Rock, so he's not involved in it at all. He doesn't know what's going on with it. It's happening.
Okay.
But he also says that most of his stories, almost all of them, in fact, are in some stage of development in movie or TV form in one way, shape, or another, which I find really interesting because it was such a hit,
massive hit,
and like one of my favorites, and we've talked about this on the show. One of my favorite TV adaptations of Stephen King. I was a big Stephen King fan back in the day. Was The Langoliers.
Okay.
And that was a TV miniseries. Dude's name flew out of my head, but really, really dated now if you watch it, but special effects wise. But really great story, and they really captured, I think, the story well. But it's interesting, Stephen King, obviously getting up there in age, is like, the 80 books I wrote, most of them are in development. You know what I mean? I think that's really kind of cool as an aspiring writer myself and someone who is a Stephen King fan to be like, I'd like to not know that people are working on my stories. You know what I mean? And be like, hey, dude, Marshall, we adapted one of your stories and we're just going to make a movie out of it. How do you feel about that? Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Movie. Money. So that's good. So I thought that was kind of neat. One other thing before we get into Universal stuff while Will's looking up what he's looking up. This is on Nerdist, and I love part of this story, and I hate other parts of it.
Okay.
The headline is, there's a new G.I. Joe, Micronauts, and Dungeons and Dragons movies are on the way.
Micronauts has been in the works for a while, because this is going to be part of the... because Hasbro is doing their own movie universe where they're going to pull in G.I. Joe and Transformers.
That's what this is about. It's about the Hasbro cinematic universe, apparently. And D&D's wrapped up in that, which I find interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, which makes sense, kind of. I think Hasbro had something to do with Wizards of the Coast and TSR. I could be speaking out of line, but with their miniatures and stuff back in the day. So I think that might be kind of cool. All the G.I. Joe stuff has been crap. I don't know about Micronauts. I loved how bad the D&D movies were. back in the day.
Oh God,
like
so
I
bad.
love.
I remember that one of the first movies.
Was it
that you and I
Michael
ever-
Ironside? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, his overacting, him chewing the
Oh
scenery
no,
in
not
that movie.
Michael Ironside.
No. You know what I'm talking
Jeremy
about.
Irons.
Jeremy Irons. That's it. Holy crap! That guy chews the scenery like as a villain in that D&D movie.
Right.
Look it up. If you're listening to this right now, look up. What is it? Jeremy Irons, D&D. What does he say? Let it rain from the sky or something like that.
Yeah,
Just look that up. You'll be happy when you do it. Anyway, all right. So we're gonna before we move on to Universal Usual. Do you have a follow up?
I'm all the articles I'm looking is just bringing up the most recent issues.
Okay.
But
So we talk about it next week.
yeah, so I'm gonna do a little bit more research on this about finding what the original base salaries were. But yeah.
I agree, Scrappy. Yeah.
And actually, really quick to follow up on what Eddie had said, they are represented by the same agency, but
Okay.
not the same agent.
Okay. Makes sense. Scrappy makes a good point. I don't think the actor enjoyed hamming it up more than him. Yeah, no. Jeremy Irons is having a blast.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, Homeboy is like, let it rain from the sky. I mean, I love that scene. It makes me so happy. It's hard to watch. I have it on DVD, dude. I love that movie. I love that DVD movie. Freaking Wayans. Damon, not Damon. Marlon Wayans is in it. Oh, it's great. He's terrible in it too. It's a good movie. It's a terrible movie, but it's a good movie. All right, so let's get to Universal Usual and get the heck out of here because we got to be done.
Yeah, we got some DCEU news.
Yeah.
Tell me about Green Lantern.
Well,
Corps.
Green Lantern Corps, it still seems to be in the works. We talked about it months ago.
Well, yeah, this is the really frustrating thing about the 24-hour news cycle when it comes for, it's like, yeah, you're gonna. The turnaround on movies is well over 2 years.
Yeah.
From script to finished product.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about like Pixar movies, you're talking 5 to 6 years.
So long.
So when you say, well, it's still in the works, well, yeah, there's so much pre-production and post, and there's so much stuff that we don't see going on. Just because we're not getting news every week doesn't mean there's not stuff going on.
Indeed. And Wonder Woman, I like this story, almost because it's like has a kind of a dynastic feel to it.
Right.
Like Gal Gadot, however you want to say it, daughter wants to take over the role of Wonder Woman when her mom is done. How cool would that be if they did a movie where both of them are in it? Like somehow, like Wonder Woman passes the reins maybe to her daughter.
Right.
I thought that'd be kind of cool.
That'd be
man.
cool.
I don't know. That made me happy.
Yeah.
You don't seem as excited, but that's fine.
You're a father of daughters, so of course
here,
you find that.
and here we are. So great.
All right.
Are you guys in the chat room? Are you gonna let him put me down like that? Is that what's happening? Hashtag blame Will.
They don't like you either. All right, so tell me how the Disney and Fox deal is going to result in 10,000 jobs.
I don't know, dude. So here's the thing. From what I've been following with how this is developing, and it still has the government has to approve this whole thing.
Yeah, it's got to go through the SEC.
There's a lot still in the works with the Disney Fox merger, I guess is the best way to do it. It's the best way to say it. And the Disney's going to start checking redundancies, is from what I gather. And if they have people that do a job, they're going to get rid of the person that also does the job, right? So if there's all these redundancies, and the estimate right now is 10,000 jobs that they're going to cut, which does make sense. And what people don't understand, as someone who was really trying to get into the game industry pretty hard back in the day, and follow the game industry now, this happens all the time. This is like when a game goes out, you're not going to have a job. Like there's a few people that will have a job, and if you're not on an MMO or a game that has updates, you need to be looking for a job when the game's about to launch. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, that's like comparing the people that are working on an MMO would be comparable to be like the gaffers and the grips and everybody that would get hired to work on any particular movie.
Yeah.
The jobs that I think they're dealing with are maybe people that work in the archives and people that work in commissaries and stuff like that. Well, and certain things, because I'm just saying you obviously don't need 2 directors of archives. Right. But just because that job title might go away, then it just might mean that somebody becomes a vice president of archives for Fox. You know, there might be other job titles created.
Yeah, my example wasn't the best, but what I'm also what I've I guess what I'm saying is there was some example that came up in a podcast I was listening to. They were saying things like if you have people who do the same job, not just in those roles, but like in design or whatever, like
Right.
you're not gonna need 4 of them now that it's merged.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, now I only need 1 or 2.
Right.
And so those people are going to lose their jobs. So it kind of sucks, but again, it's going to take them a while
Absolutely.
to figure it out. And along with this, and I don't know if we talked about this last time, but although they are acquiring Fox, it's very, very, very unlikely we're not going to see the original Star Wars trilogy released.
No, because the original format.
Right, exactly.
Because that was not what was when they redid when they re-solidified what canon was when they split off Legends. They canonized, I believe it was not even the 1997 editions. I want to say it was the 2001 or 2002 editions.
Yeah.
That's canon.
Right. All right. Well,
which canonized Greedo shooting first.
of course, sadly for people who own like 8 shirts that say Han shot first.
Exactly.
Excuse me. Sorry.
So one of the other things that's coming up with ABC is that ABC just re-signed Carlton Cuse to a 4-year spec deal.
Okay.
Carlton Cuse was one of the creators, along with Damon Lindelof and J.J. Abrams, of Lost. And so a lot of people were speculating that Carlton Cuse coming back might result in a reboot of Lost.
Yeah.
It's considered, nowhere near being on the table right now.
Right. I think that's kind of the speculation kind of around Firefly too.
Right.
Now that the merger is going through.
Right, but that was owned by Fox Television.
No, but I'm just saying, like,
Right.
there's that little bit of hope, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would think if they're going to do anything with Firefly, it would most likely, because they bought the film studios, it would be films,
Yeah.
not a series.
I would prefer that, honestly.
Yeah.
Don't bring the series back because all those guys are getting older and you have to do a time jump. And
Speaking of doing films based on TV format,
yeah.
tells us the next story.
Damn, nice segue, bro. It's like we're just really just sinking right back into this.
We are.
I'm really proud of you.
It's kind of nice.
It's all right. So Zachary Levi has come out and he said he wants to do Chuck movies on Netflix.
I think that would be great.
Yeah, I think it would be great as well. It turns out it's in his head. It's him wanting to do it, not that he's talking to anybody about it. But
no.
It would be cool. I really like that series, Chuck.
Yeah, I think it would be the geek version of Tom Selleck's Jesse Stone movies.
Okay.
Which they do like 8 of them. And they could easily do them at a fairly inexpensive cost.
Indeed. Anime has seemed to be picking up on Netflix.
Yeah, with
big time.
Yeah, with Death Note and
I think with Death Note they've picked up, and I didn't even put all the articles in here about anime. Full Metal Alchemist is something I used to watch back in the day that is coming. That has been added to Netflix. I want to say there were 2 or 3 other ones that I didn't put in here.
Right.
And I think this helped. I think part of it obviously has to do with the popularity of things like Dragon Ball and what's the other one that came out? Oh, and when they released the Castlevania anime kind of version of that. So I mean, and anime is popular, man, and with the uptick in Pokemon again and everything else,
Voltron
I mean,
made a comeback.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it makes sense. So
cool.
Speaking of, Batman is back. Not speaking of, but Batman is back on Netflix. Some of the Batman movies. The older Batman movies are back.
Right. So
which
like
is
Batman Begins, Batman Forever.
Which I think is great.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, some of those movies are terrible, but a lot of those are amazing.
What I really don't understand
See you, Eddie. Have a good night, man.
Especially in this digital age, when you can have unlimited storage.
Yeah.
Just put it all out there.
Slap it out there. See what happens. See
Put
who
it all
watches
somewhere.
it. And if nobody watches it, take it down.
Exactly.
Won't matter anyway. Speaking of things people aren't watching, weird segue. My wife and kids and we actually did watch the first few episodes of the series of Unfortunate Events.
Right.
I actually liked it.
Some people do.
And the wife did too. The kids got frightened. It's dark.
Well,
it's really
it's a dark series. Plus, Neil Patrick Harris can play dark roles.
And he plays it really creepy, which I like about it. So season 2 is coming out. There is a release date and a trailer. I didn't put it in trailer time because I only watched part of the first season, but it's going to come out at the end of March 30th is season 2. So
Cool.
I don't know if you ever watched any of them. Did you watch any of them?
I haven't watched any of the shows, but I saw the movie.
Yeah. Okay. And the single reason I put this story in here was just so we can talk about the amazingness of the first episode of season 4 of Black Mirror, which you haven't watched.
No.
Which I'm going to ask you to do a thing. You're yawning. Can you do a thing for me? Can you watch the first freaking episode of season 4? It doesn't matter if you haven't watched season 3.
Okay.
Watch the first episode of season 4, and we can talk about it next week.
This is
Okay?
USS Callister?
Yes. So, season 4 of Black Mirror has come out. I've only watched the first episode. I love Black Mirror. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite TV shows, I think, of all time at this point. And mostly because the anthology series, it's dystopian, it's all the things, it's dark, it's all the things I love. But Black Mirror season 4, certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, is how I'm getting us into the story. But there's supposedly a spin-off coming out, maybe. Talk.
There's talk.
Okay, rumors.
The problem with it is Jimmy Simpson, who is the main person in...
One of the main people,
One of the main people in USS Callister has just confirmed that he's coming back into Westworld for season 2, so availability might be an issue.
So the guy that played... what was his role?
William. He was the young Anthony Hopkins role.
Yeah. He played the... It's hard to explain what he played in the USS Callister. So watch the episode. Everybody watch the episode. Just do it. It's phenomenal. It starts off really weird, though. I'm just going to say.
Black Mirror starting off weird?
No. But it starts off like, am I watching is this going to be the whole thing? Like, it starts off like old school, old-timey Star Trek.
Okay.
But watch it. It's dark. It's amazing. It's so, so, so good. And the only reason I put it in there was to tell you to watch it so we can talk about it next week.
All right.
Okay? Whew, I got through it. Speaking of Netflix, Bright, did you watch it?
I have not yet.
Neither have I. But this is going to be a sequel.
Cool.
Makes sense.
Yeah, what's the perks about films that they make for, for example, the Adam Sandler movies, which get horrible reviews but make money on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's easy to turn a profit.
Yeah. I mean, we got Will Smith. It's fantasy. I really want to watch it. I just haven't yet. So I'm excited about it. Some Gambit news.
Yeah, well, the Gambit has finally got a start date.
Finally. And they're going to start filming in March.
Yeah, I believe it's March 17th.
Which is pretty cool.
St. Paddy's Day.
Yeah. Fitting.
Huh?
I don't know. I just thought about throwing it out there.
The 15th is the Ides of March.
Look, bro, I just was trying to make
You're an English teacher. You should know it's when Julius Caesar died. Jeez.
You can tell when the show is getting towards the end.
When it's devolving.
Devolving?
English teacher.
How dare you? Can we move on?
Tell me about Rosario Dawson.
I might not. I might just call it quits.
All right, so Rosario Dawson is...
I hate you. Rosario Dawson, we're in Marvel news now.
And really quick, to answer Scrappy, no, the person playing Remy LeBeau is going to be Channing Tatum.
Oh, yeah, you didn't hear about that? Yeah. We'll see how his accent is.
But it is going to be directed by Gore Vidal, the guy who did the first couple of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Yeah, we'll see.
Gore Verbinski.
Barf.
Gore Vidal is a writer who wrote Burr. All right, go ahead.
That was a weird side note. All right, so going back to Marvel, Rosario Dawson is going to return for Daredevil and Iron Fist and and their new seasons, which is great. I love her role as the night nurse, and I feel like those shows, she makes those shows in some way, shape, or form. I really, she kind of holds them all together, which I like.
Absolutely.
This is weird. Wolverine. I threw this out there because Marvel announces Wolverine is coming back as a serial podcast called The Long Night.
Really?
Yeah. And so I put a link in the show notes. I think this is pretty cool. It's coming out soon-ish, I think.
So it's going to be like a radio drama.
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay. A scripted podcast where you're going to get Wolverine stories, which I think is kind of cool.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, we'll keep our eye on this and report back.
Cool.
Because I plan on checking it out. I think that sounds cool.
All right. So if you haven't seen Thor or don't want to know any spoilers for Avengers, shut your ears for the next 15 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever. For those of you who saw Thor, in the post-credit scenes when they're all escaping on the Ark, and then we saw a big, huge shadow of a ship overtaking it. It is confirmed in script pages that have been released that is actually Thanos' ship. So it looks like the first people.
Okay.
It looks like the first people that are going to be impacted by Thanos is going to be the Asgardians.
Okay, good. And that was a speculation that it was his ship.
Right, because we see Loki giving up a stone. We
Right.
see Thor somehow ending up on the Guardian ship.
Yeah. No, that's gonna be cool, man. I'm really looking forward to Infinity War. Like really.
Oh, it looks great.
Do you want to know anything else about it?
We're only 5 months out.
Indeed. All right, man. So convention news. The only we're gonna start reporting out on convention stuff. The main thing is we're all set.
Yep.
You and I are set for Comic-Con. We have our badges, our press passes, and our hotel room set. So now it's just figuring out what shows we're going to see and setting up Pucked 3.0. But convention news, we are going to report out on that in case you are going. HopCon is returning, and it's coming on a new day. I think in the past they used to do like earlier in the week, and now I believe they're doing it on. I have a link in the show notes. They're doing it on Thursday. July 19th. Actually, they were doing it on Saturday before. Anyway, it's $75 a ticket, and this is basically a huge thing. They moved it. So check out the link in the show notes, and it is going to be cool. It's done by Stone Brewing Company. It's going to be great. A lot of beer.
Awesome.
Beer's good. I don't know. I like beer. I'm drinking beer currently.
Yes, we are. I think that's it. Feel like wrapping it up?
I don't know, dude. I'm thinking we just hang out for a while. I was kidding. Happy New Year, everyone. I am going to wrap up the show right now. So please, before I get into my usual spiel and you tune out, please tell your friends, share us and like us and all that kind of stuff. Give us reviews. We would love to have more viewers on Twitch and more.
You almost did double digits tonight.
Yeah, indeed.
Without the help of a Kidley lead-in.
Indeed. But I also would like more subscribers to the podcast and more downloads. So
and please go to Apple iTunes or Apple Podcasts and rate us 5 stars.
Indeed. All right. So thanks for tuning in to the usual podcast. Whoa. I just really lost my thing there. Hold on 1 second. So thanks for tuning in.
You said thing.
Anyway, you can find us. Oh my God. Are you going to talk over me this time? Don't worry. When I edit this, it'll be amazing. And in fact, what's going to be funny is I'm not going to edit any of it out. You can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com. And, of course, we are on Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. If you find us on Twitter, Will is at IamWillGriggs, and I am at Darth Pops. iTunes, Stitcher Radio, your favorite podcast apps. Download us, like us, and all that. Tell your friends, as I said. And there are several ways to support this show. Patreon.com/usualpodcast is the easiest way. Give us $1 or $2 an episode. We will give you trailer time, which we did tonight, early access to shows, and other goodies. Yeah, pretty easy. audibletrial.com/usualpodcast. You can, I don't know, get a free audiobook on us.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's really, we get $15. You get a free audiobook. I've been listening to... I'm about done. I keep not finishing it, but Brandon Sanderson books, 55 hours. That's a good way to do it. There's also Game of Thrones and a ton of other stuff on there too. So yeah,
cool.
Do that.
And one of the coolest ways you guys can do it is by getting your own special Tupperware.
Yeah, we have merch.
So go to teespring.com/usualpodcast and pick up your own shirt or sticker.
Awesome. And so, dude, let's get out of here. This has been a good show. I'm glad we're back.
Absolutely. And everybody, make sure you go out there and have a fun.
Oh, you did it. Have a fun. We'll see you all next week.
Peace.
I'm so glad I didn't have to say the things and do that. Don't give me that. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. You guys are awesome. Oh, good. Firefight. Yeah, no, dude. Fall down that rabbit hole. Sanderson's great. Have you read Mistborn, Scrappy? Mistborn series is good. I am reading the Stormlight Archive. Yeah, all this stuff is pretty excellent. Read all of it. Yeah, Way of Kings is the way to go. Way of Kings. Do it. Do it. Do it. All right, kids. We are going to take off. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for chatting with us. I love a good active chat room. Join us next week. We usually record on Thursdays. But this week we had to do it tonight. So we will see you next week. Thank you.